Good day, one and all. I am Linia Danlegaribay, and my report is all about Chapter 19, Environmental Ethics. So, morality and technology. This leads to the darker side of Thoreau's moral vision, one that dates to the birth of the social universe. How does one balance the interest of individual with that of the community in which he lives? From Antigone to our present day, this question has been at the heart of ethics, and Thoreau's response is noteworthy for the adamant and uncompromising primacy he gives the individual. The moral vision which is so guided his life was derived from an inner sense of his own personhood, the preservation of his own autonomy, the sanctity of his self-determined choice. In the end, Thoreau's moral philosophy is dangerously solipsistic, narcissistic to the extreme. Thoreau's morality was built from the precept that the protection of his autonomy was the crucial and abiding parameter of moral action. In striving for that independence, Thoreau erected a universe around himself. Thoreau recognized how the self might be imprisoned by its selfness and in the romantic tradition of actualizing in the context of the other. He relentlessly pursued a transfiguration which would exchange his autonomous self for one whose boundaries have been blurred in the communion with nature. But there is unresolved tension between an expansive, expressive view of the person and the self-actualization of an autonomous entity. Ecological conscience. What is land ethic? Ethics direct all members of a community to treat one another with respect for the mutual benefit of all. A land ethic expands the definition of community to include not only humans, but all of the other parts of the earth, as well as soils, waters, plants, and animals, or what Leopold called the land. In Leopold's vision of the land ethic, the relationships between people and land are intertwined. Care for people cannot be separated from care for the land. A land ethic is a moral code of conduct that grows out of these interconnected, caring relationships. Leopold did not define the land ethic with a litany of rights and wrongs in a Sand County almanac. Instead, he presented it as a set of values that naturally grew out of his lifetime of experiences in the outdoors. Leopold wrote that we can only be ethical in relation to something we can see, understand, feel, love, or otherwise have faith in. He believed that direct contact with the natural world was crucial in shaping our ability to extend our ethics beyond our own self-interest. He hoped his essays would inspire others to embark or continue on a similar lifelong journey of outer exploration, developing an ethic of care that would grow out of their own close personal connection of nature. The world is our body. The mind in Alan Watts' The World is Your Body. The meaning is just what it states. Our minds are social. The way in which our minds function is based on the aspect of being social. The way that we think and process the world around us is dependent upon the way in which we have been influenced by others. From our birth and throughout our life, people have colonized our mind. Our mind in colonized based on certain people, and without certain people, our mind will break down. In some ways, we are aware of this colonization and how people impact our minds. We are aware of this because we carefully select who we listen to, and we don't impact our minds. This idea is expressed in reading good books, as it states. People's basic attitude about books and reading change as a result of what they do and do not read. He basically states that the world is a social activity, a mutual interchange of messages and ideas based on such social institutions as language, sciences, libraries, universities, and museums. By this, He is talking about a similar point discussed previously, that the world is built around language, which is around us is through others, being social and interacting with others. We interact through a system in which nearly everything is related. There is no sharp line between me, them, and nature. It is a type of coherence. Be the heroes we never were and live. It expresses a sense of worry and guilt. I wonder if, in more ways than one, our generation may have failed your generation. How does one impart the customary commencement council if the old have not come up fully to the expectations of the young? Our profligacy in years past, for example, dissipated your inheritance of abundant God-given resources. Today, our legendary Philippine mahogany forests are just that, legend. Out of the original 30 million hectares of trees, only 900,000 hectares of virgin dipterocarp forest remain. Recent figures gathered by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations show that over the last 25 years, we sold over 101.6 million cubic meters of prime logs abroad. Erosion of invaluable topsoil is the twin of deforestation. In addition, well over 70% of our coral reefs is ravaged. Much of the damage has been inflicted through blast fishing, poison, and sedimentation. Mangroves form one of the most productive and biologically diverse wetlands given by the province yet. Between 1920 and 1988, Philippine mangroves were stripped by over 462,000 hectares. Only 38,000 hectares remain today. Where is the soaring eagle circling above the land? The Catholic bishops recently asked in an Anglish pastoral. They went on to say, the scars on nature will lead inevitably to an increase in political and social unrest. All we might leave behind is a barren desert. We do not inherit the land from our parents, farmers often say. We merely borrowed it from our children. This blindness can be lethal. There are more poor people in the Philippines today than any time in our history. Poverty is the breeding ground of social unrest. Seen in this context, the plea from the disciples of Emmaus strikes a responsive chord for peoples on my generation. Stay with us, Lord, they said. For the day is now far spent and it is almost evening. In our twilight years, there is a desperate hope in many of us that your vision will see beyond the debris and spoliation we left to what can still be retrieved and rebuilt. Go then and rebuild our scarred land. Go and be heroes we never quite managed to become and live. So, a positive use of technology helps people physical, mental, spiritual, and moral well-being. Individuals become healthier. A positive use of technology helps people's physical, mental, spiritual, and moral being. Individuals become healthier, more educated, more loving of God and neighbor, and better decision makers as a result of this program. We will become sicker, less educated, less sympathy toward others, and less capable of making moral decisions as a result of inadequate technology. Technology typically facilitates activities. We want excellent technology that facilitates good, not terrible technology that facilitates harmful actions. We should try to create the sort of society where it is easy for individuals to do the right thing. Technology can help with this, but it might better directed thus far. We're all members of a community of thinkers tasked with developing a land ethic for the 21st century and beyond. To do so, we must participate in intelligent conversation with one another, encouraging a wide range of viewpoints, experiences, and backgrounds. we can create a land ethic that will be passed down to future generations if we work together. Thoreau's self-image as a hero, prophet, and political science was founded on a strong sense of the self. Our generation, on the other hand, is suspicious of heroes, whether self-proclaimed or not, and the banner of the self has been torn beneath which a hero. If there's one must come, the notion that the self is only an interpretive scheme, an almost forgotten relic of a bygone socio-historical era, has troubled us. Our basic identities appear to be far too malleable and dependent. And just as suddenly as they come, guidelines evaporate. Thoreau's own age had left him with a philosophical problem, the concept of selfhood. Thank you so much. I hope you have learned something from my report.